Let's talk a little bit, because you mentioned imagination. Let's talk a little bit about the songwriting process. I wonder if you can just enlighten us a little bit about maybe what the starting points or the inspirations might be. And considering it's an instrumental album, whether there's a difference in deciding whether something's going to be instrumental or not.
The decision comes before the fact. Due to circumstance. Songs for me start with lyrics. If there's no lyrics, but I discover something on the guitar, it depends on what it is, but because I might decide I'll hang on to that in case I get some lyrics that it works with. But very often, if I discover something that's new to me on the guitar, I'll try to make it into a piece. And so you look for other. It starts with one riff or some little concept, and then you just kind of try to add things to it that enhance it and move it forward. And that's my method of composition.
Right. Is there any particular thing that kicks it off? I remember reading that, well, sometimes it might be a dream or just the mood you're in that day, or I imagine there's all kinds of variables that play into it.
With lyrics, all of that is true. With instrumental music, not so much. I mean, who knows? I don't really know where it comes from. I don't associate music in the absence of lyrics with any particular agenda or point of view that you're trying to get across. I think the music creates its own point of view, and that. I was talking to somebody earlier about this kind of thing, and talking about titles of these instrumental pieces and where do you get the titles from? Well, you don't write I don't, at least anyway, write a piece of music because I thought of a good title. It's the other way around. So you got a piece of music and you got to call it something, and then you try to find words that will convey something of the mood of the piece and of the feeling that I get from the piece, right?
It's kind of fascinating in a way that you've had this lengthy and very celebrated career, and yet you've never really sort of cultivated any of that career stuff. You've just kind of been yourself through the whole thing.
I have a hard time thinking about what I do as a career. To me, it's just what I do. And the fact that I've been able to make a living from it, largely due to Bernie Finkelstein's efforts, is something I'm very grateful for, and I appreciate it every time I do a gig or get on the tour bus and I think, this is a pretty good way to make a living. And I mean, it has its difficult side too, of course, but I'd much rather be doing what I do than working for somebody else, no matter what I was doing. So it's been a great thing, but I've always had trouble with the word career, because that implies some sort of intentionality and some sort of a sense of advancement somehow, like, okay, this year I'm doing this, and next year I'm going to be CEO or something. I mean, I can't think like that. I'm not really that interested in trying to.
Right. Yeah, I hear that. Again, in terms of just a lengthy career, do you feel that your status as, I'm just in quotes, a legacy artist? Do you think that's more of...
Does that mean old guy?
It means legacy.
I think so.
But do you think that's more of a help or a hindrance in terms of how people consider your current work or your newest work?
I am where I am, and to get where I am, I've done what I've done, and I've been where I've been. That's kind of what it adds up to for me. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 2 years. I don't know how long I'm on the planet. I mean, at this point, it becomes more obvious at this age that sooner or later I'm not going to be than it was at an earlier age, although I was always aware of that. But I don't care about legacy. There's an old song of mine called No Footprints, and it talks about, it's like, we're here, basically I can't quote the lyrics, it's too long since I tried to sing it, but it's we're going to move on into our future, and it kind of presents the notion that the best thing we can possibly do is leave no footprints. If you think of the tundra, where a footprint lasts 100 years or more, you don't want to leave footprints. the world's better without footprints. You know, we were here, we did our thing, we shaped what we shaped, and we're shaped by it, and we move on. And you know, if you believe in reincarnation, you move on into another life, or you move on to somewhere, or you move on into the ground. But any way you cut it, we don't control our legacy. Other people do. We remember Martin Luther King because he made he had a huge impact on the culture of the planet, and other people like him who've had that kind of impact are also remembered. Scientists who discovered things and all that sort of stuff, right? But they didn't create their legacy. The people who came after did.